Chapter 1. It is noon, and our flight leaves in 2 hours. I am running around the townhouse, trying to pack all of my things. I zip up my luggage and run to the bathroom to apply my makeup and pull my hair back. I just put on a cotton red tank top and a pair of my favorite buckle jeans. I look at myself in the mirror and think that will have to do. My hair is brown, wavy, and lays at the end of my shoulder blades. My eyes are gray with long lashes. I get lots of compliments on my eyes. Even though my legs don't go on forever like Abby's, I can still pull them off with a little help from shorter skirts and pumps. I go back to the bedroom, and after doing a final scan of the room, I grab my luggage, closing the door behind me. It is bittersweet because I'm going home, which I am excited about, but also leaving my home of 7 years. I walk into the kitchen to grab a quick drink of coffee when Abby rolls her luggage into the living room. "Abby, are you almost ready? The cab should be here any minute." She walks past me in a hurry. "Yeah, I just have to grab my iPod." The cab pulls up and the driver loads our luggage. We get into the back of the cab and head to Tuscaloosa Regional Airport. "Did you send in the final paperwork for the office?" Abby asks. "Yes. We just need to pick up the keys." I check my purse, making sure I have the plane tickets, and after I find them, I watch the city go by me through the cab window. When we board the plane, we are greeted by a nice flight attendant. Then we find our seats. After I put my carry-on in the overhead compartment, I look over and notice a guy sitting in a middle seat, and he is staring at Abby. Soon after we take our seats, the plane starts down the runway and we take off. Once we are in the air, the flight attendant walks back over to us and asks, "Would either of you like something to drink?" "I will have some water," I say, and then Abby says, "I will take some red wine, please." After we receive our drinks, I glance back and notice that same man is still staring at Abby like he wants to devour her. "Abby, you have an admirer," I say, tilting my head back in his direction, and she looks back at him. I'm sitting beside the window, looking at the clouds, and when I look back over at Abby, she's staring back at that man who was flirting with her. I lay my head back, thinking of the last 7 years of my life, which have seemed to have flown by. I can't believe I'm finally going to be starting my career when Abby interrupts my thoughts. I might take that man to the bathroom and do things to him he never imagined. Abby says, "Abby, I don't think that the passengers would appreciate hearing you have sex on the plane. Anyway, you don't know the man. He could be a rapist or a murderer." "Oh, Hollyn, where is the excitement in your life? He is not going to abduct me. I mean, we are in the air on a plane, so where could he take me?" I roll my eyes at her and sit back in my chair. I put my earbuds in my ears and turn on my iPod. I close my eyes and must have drifted off to sleep because the next thing I know, Abby is shaking me. "Hollyn, wake up. We have landed." After gathering our carry-ons, Abby gives a seductive wave to the man who she flirted with the whole flight. After we get our luggage from the baggage claim, we walk through the terminal to the exit. There are a bunch of people with signs that have people's names written on them. As I look around, I don't see anyone I recognize. But then, I spot my brother Austin. He has gotten so handsome. His hair is brown with a little wave like mine, but his eyes are blue. I notice he has gotten ripped since the last time I saw him. Abby stops dead in her tracks as we approach him. I look back at her, and she is speechless. "Abby, what's wrong with you?" She still doesn't say anything, but I follow the direction of her eyes, and they are pinpointed straight to my brother. I start to laugh, and that pulls her out of her tranquilized state. "That is your brother? Wow, he is hot. Is he seeing anyone?" "I don't think so. I talked to him a couple days ago, and he didn't mention anyone." Her eyes trails back to Austin. "Oh, the things I can do to him," she says. I give her the gag finger in the mouth motion, and she starts laughing. "Austin, this is my friend Abby from Alabama. Abby never takes her eyes off of Austin. So this is Abby. I've heard so much about you, Austin says. I look over at Austin, and he is beaming with a smile. He turns to me and gives me a hug. I've missed you, Hollyn. I managed to swallow the lump that had formed in my throat. I missed you too. I haven't seen him for 2 years. He volunteered to stay home to complete a job that was close to the deadline so my dad could come to my graduation. We walk out through the exit, and immediately the familiar salt in the air from the ocean hits my face, and I am suddenly overwhelmed with emotion. I am finally home. Austin loads our luggage in his Jeep, and Abby gets into the back seat. As we are driving, I catch him looking in the rearview mirror, stealing glances at Abby. We drive by the dock where my parents' boat is docked, and where I used to spend a lot of my spare time looking at sunsets. Austin, pull over. I want to walk on the deck before we go home, I say. Austin parks his Jeep, and I walk out to the dock looking at the ocean. Abby walks up behind me. Wow, it is beautiful here, Abby says. Wait until you see the sunsets. They are breathtaking, I say. Let's go. Mom and Dad are going to be worried, Austin says. Right before I turn to walk back to the Jeep, I see a large industrial fishing boat. I notice it has the name Haynes on the side of it in bold black letters. Now, I really do know that I am home. Chapter 2. We pull up to my house, which is a white 2-story home with stone steps that lead up to the front porch. I begin to think of the holidays and breaks from school that I spent around the college campus in Alabama. It was really hard to make the decision to stay home and study rather than come home every chance I got, but it was something I felt I had to do to pass my finals. As I'm getting out of the car, trying to hold back the tears, I hear a squeal. Oh, sweetie, I've missed you so much, my mom says, running down the sidewalk to the driveway. She throws her arms around me, giving me a big hug. My mom is tall with long legs. She has brown hair that lays on her shoulders. She is 46 years old, but doesn't look a day over 40. She met my dad in college, and a year later she had Austin and me. She dropped out of college to take care of us while my dad finished school to start his own business. I think she has tried to live through me, and that is why she strives for me to be successful. Mom, you just saw me a few days ago during graduation, I managed to say, barely able to breathe from her squeezing so hard. I know, sweetie, but you haven't been home for almost 2 years now, and it's good seeing you here. My dad walks up behind her. Good Lord, Heidi, you're going to break the poor girl's ribs. My dad's name is Marcus, but everybody calls him Mark. He is 47 and handsome. He has black hair with faint strands of gray through it. He is built from all of his years doing construction, and his skin has aged well. My mom lets me go. Mom, Dad, do you remember Abby? Yes, it is nice to see you again, dear, my mom says, giving her a hug. Well, you girls better run up and get settled in, my dad says. Austin carries our luggage in for us, and then he comes back out. The neighborhood summer kickoff party is tonight, Austin says. Are they still having those? I ask. What neighborhood party? Abby asks. I explained to Abby that every year there's a party to celebrate the summer and that lots of the young adults from the neighborhood go. I look at Austin. Where is it at this year? I say. At a new nightclub, Violet. That sounds like fun, Abby says. Of course, I haven't been to one of those for years, so I'm really excited and looking forward to seeing some familiar faces. I look at Abby. Let's go get dressed, I say. I run up the stairs and I show Abby to the guest bedroom. So where's Austin's room? She asks with a laugh. I shake my head at her and walk into the room. My room hasn't changed much since I left. The walls are white and the floor is hardwood. My full-size bed sits in the middle of the room against the wall. It has a purple comforter with matching curtains on the windows. I notice my old desk sitting across the room, and I'm surprised to see that my old calendar from high school is still laying on it. I immediately walk to the bathroom to take a quick shower. I put on a navy blue sundress and a new pair of white leather-heeled sandals. I put my makeup on and straighten my hair. I grab my jewelry bag out of my luggage and walk over to the vanity. I choose a pair of diamond silver hoop earrings and a matching bracelet. Perfect, I think to myself, looking in the mirror. After spraying my perfume on, I walk down the hall to Abby's room and I knock on the door. "Hey, are you ready?" I called out to her. She opens the door and whistles. "Wow, look at you. You look hot." "Come on, we're going to be late," I say, pulling her away. When we arrive to the nightclub and get out of Austin's Jeep, I hear the music from inside. After waiting in line for 10 minutes, we finally walk up to a man dressed in a black t-shirt and black slacks. After showing our identification, we enter the club. When we walk through the front door, there's a wooden dance floor in the center, with a bar at the far back wall. It is dark, other than the strobe of neon lights around the room. I am standing by the front door when I hear a familiar voice yell my name over the music. I turn to see a tall, red-headed girl who I hadn't seen since I left for college. She has a tall, slender body and pale skin with piercing dark blue eyes. "Paige, you look great," I say, as I hug her and introduce her to Abby. After getting a table, we go to the dance floor. We dance to 3 songs, and I start to swear at my shoes. The bottoms of my feet are screaming for an ice pack, and I'm wishing I'd just put on my flats. My mouth starts to feel dry, so I excuse myself and walk over to the bar. I ordered a glass of wine and decide to walk out onto the deck that overlooks the bay. I had forgotten how beautiful the sunset is. It looks like someone takes various bright colors and paints a beautiful picture, which looks different each evening. They say that no 2 sunsets are the same. This evening, the sky blows bright orange, reflecting off of the water, making it look like it is on fire underneath. I decide to go back into the club, but when I turn, my ankle twists and I stumble. Suddenly, my right arm is caught with one hand keeping me balanced. When I look up, staring at me is a familiar handsome man with chocolate brown hair and blue eyes with a rim of yellow around the pupil. It looks like the sun reflects in them. He is wearing a short-sleeved gray button-down shirt that brings out the yellow ring in his eyes and a pair of jeans. I am hypnotized by his smell of light outdoors and cologne. I am overwhelmed by the sensation his touch is sending through my body and the butterflies that are floating in my stomach. He looks at the empty glass of wine in my hand with a smirk. "Are you all right?" he says. "These damn shoes," I say. Pulling my eyes away from his, I bend down, unbuckle my shoes, and take them off. "I am Ian Haynes," he says. "Didn't we go to high school together?" "Yes, but I moved before graduation. I came back to Rhode Island a year ago from Wisconsin. I helped my grandfather with his family's fishing business by managing a lobster boat." I am not able to take my eyes off of him. I recalled the Haynes name on the boat that I'd seen earlier when I was at the dock. I remember he was handsome even in high school. All of the girls wanted to date him, but he never dated anyone serious. I didn't know him very well, other than an occasional glance as we passed each other in the hallway. I hadn't seen him going on 8 years, and he is even more breathtaking than I remember. "You just graduated from college in Alabama. A lawyer, right?" "Yes, finally. How did you know that?" I say. "Your dad was in town, and I heard him talking to someone. He said you were coming home." I watch as he smiles, showing his perfect teeth. He walks over to the edge of the deck and turns toward me. He leans his elbows on the banister, and I follow every movement he makes. No matter how hard I try to pull my eyes away from him, I can't. "So why is a beautiful girl like you doing out here all alone?" he says. I blush a little at his comment. I wanted to watch the sunset, but I wasn't expecting to almost fall flat on my face. "What are you doing out here alone?" I needed some air. It was getting a little crowded. He tilts his head to the side, like he is trying to figure something out. "Thanks, by the way, for catching me," I say. God, he is sexy, I think to myself. I shift my gaze to the sky And when I look back over at him, he gives me an ear-to-ear grin, as if he had heard my thoughts. "My pleasure," he says. "There you are. I've been looking everywhere for you," Abby says, coming up behind me. I hear Zendaya's replay start to play, and before I know it, Abby is pulling me away from this gorgeous man. We walk to the dance floor. "Come on, I love this song," she yells over the music. I'm dancing, getting lost in the music. My gaze shifts to the door, and my eyes lock on Ian's. He is leaning against the wall by the door, staring at me. My heart starts to race. I feel my core turn warm and my panties get wet. My body is screaming for his touch, and I'm shocked because I really don't know him. I close my eyes, moving my hips with the beat of the music. When I open them back up, he is gone. My eyes frantically search the room for him, but I can't find him. After the song is over, we walk to the bar to get a drink, but this time I need something a little harder to numb these emotions that have me so confused, so I take a shot of tequila with salt and lime. After 5 more shots, we decide to get Austin to go home. As soon as I reach my room, I feel the tequila, and instead of numbing my emotions, I seem to have heightened them, because all I can think about is that gorgeous man who walked into my life just as fast as he disappeared. I take off my sundress, throwing it to the floor, and I crawl into the bed, falling into a deep, deep sleep. Chapter 3. "I want you," I hear him say, and then his hand is sliding down my cheek to my breast. He grabs both breasts with his hands and takes one nipple into his mouth, biting and sucking. Then he grabs the other one and bites it and sucks on it. I feel the wetness increasing between my thighs. My nipples are hard and I moan. He looks up at me with that beautiful smile and those breathtaking eyes. He slowly moves to my navel and circles it with his tongue. He moves down to my wet, throbbing clit. "Oh, Ian," I moan and buck in anticipation of his touch and his mouth between my legs. I go to grab his hair, but all I grab is air. I start to panic, grabbing for him, but he is not there. I wake myself up, grabbing at the comforter, drenched in sweat. Then I realize it was just a dream. What the fuck? I say to myself. I get out of bed to take a cold shower to cool down the flow of lava that my blood has become. As I get out of the shower, I feel the heat that was there is now gone, so I start to prepare myself for the plans I had previously made with Abby. Today is a big day for Abby and I. We are moving into our new apartment. While still in Alabama, we contacted a Rhode Island realtor that has been in business for many years. She is the same realtor who helped us find an office for our firm. After she found a fully furnished apartment in my hometown of Rhode Island, she sent us pictures. Abby and I both decided it was perfect for us, so we quickly signed the papers and received the keys. I grab a white cotton t-shirt and blue jeans out of the closet. I slip on my black flats since my feet are still hurting from the shoes last night, and that makes me smile. I go downstairs to the kitchen and I hear Abby and Austin laughing. "Good morning, sis," Austin says mid-laughter. "Good morning." I walk over to the counter and pour a cup of coffee. "I heard you saw Ian last night," Austin says to me. I dart Abby a look with my eyes and then back to Austin. "I saw him at the club, so what?" I say, shrugging my shoulders. "Damn, Hollyn, you don't have to be so bitchy about it. Or does it have something to do with you moaning and crying out his name this morning?" he says. I blush but remain silent because I really don't know what to say. "Just remember my room is beside of yours. Next time you decide to have a dream about some guy, keep it down. I really don't want to hear that," Austin says with a smile. "Austin, don't you have to go to work?" I say, turning towards him. "Yes, I will bring over the big boxes later," he says, looking down at his watch. He gets up from the table quickly and softly touches Abby's hand. I grab a muffin and sit beside Abby once Austin is gone, hoping Abby doesn't ask me about my dream. "What's going on between you two?" I say. "Just having a little fun is all," she says. She quickly changes the subject back to Ian. "What's up with you and that man from the party?" she asks. I pick up a muffin. "Nothing. I know him from school." I am relieved when I'm saved by a text from Paige. She says, "Want to meet for lunch?" And I respond, "Sounds great." "Buster Crabs?" she asked. I said, "We'll be there at noon." Abby and I walk to my car. It's a red Mitsubishi Eclipse Spider convertible that has been kept in the garage since I left for college. "Wow, nice car," Abby says as she gets in. "Thanks. It was a Christmas gift from my mom and dad after I got my license." "The best Christmas gift I got from my parents was what they called a new mattress to sleep on," Abby says. "I slept in the corner of a bedroom floor that was shared by 5 other kids, but I knew it was one that they had picked up from the side of the road someone had thrown out," she says. She has told me stories from her childhood, but it never gets any easier hearing them. I feel so sorry for her not having the family life I grew up with, and even though my parents are pushy and annoying at times, it makes me appreciate them more. We pull up to the front of the apartment and go to the trunk to get our luggage. After taking the elevator to the 4th floor, we enter our apartment. It is a corner apartment, so it's one of the larger ones. The living room has dark hardwood floors and the walls are burgundy red color. There is a white couch that sits up against the wall with 2 white chairs to the left. The living room opens up into the kitchen that has a cherry wood cabinets and black granite tops with an island that separates it from the living room. My bedroom is down the hall to the left. It is spacious with a platform bed, hardwood floors, and a desk. There is a bathroom attached with a walk-in closet. It is definitely an upgrade from the small townhouse in Alabama that we lived in. After 3 hours, I hear the door open and Austin walks in carrying a large box. "Hey sis, where do you want this?" he says. I look at the box and notice Abby's name on it, so I show him to her room. After Austin brings in the rest of the large boxes, he walks into my room. "This is a nice apartment," Austin says. "When are you going to get out of Mom and Dad's house, Austin?" I say. "I am saving up, and anyways, Mom cooks for me," he smiles, and I throw a shirt at him that I was unpacking. He throws the shirt back at me, walking out of the room. "I have to go back to work," Austin says. After unpacking what felt like a million boxes, I look at my clock and it is 11:30. I go to the bathroom to get cleaned up for lunch with Paige. I let my hair down and I run a brush through it. I fix my makeup and grab a clean tank top out of my drawer. I walk into Abby's room and find her hanging clothes in her closet. "Abby, I'm going to meet Paige for lunch. Do you want to go?" "I would, but I need to pick up a few things in town," she says as she walks out of her closet. "Can you drop me off on your way to lunch?" "Sure, just text me when you are finished," I say, grabbing my Michael Kors handbag. I drive to Buster Crabs, a restaurant that sits on the bay. It is one of my favorite places to eat. I walk in and find Paige seated at a table outside on the deck. The waitress comes over, and I order a side salad and a lobster bisque. After Paige orders the same, she lays her napkin down in her lap. "Are you going to get settled into your apartment?" she says. "Yes, you'll have to come over sometime," I say. The waitress comes over and sits our bowls of soup and salad down. I take a spoonful of soup in my mouth and it makes me realize how much I have missed the food from here. Paige leans in with a grin and a whisper. "I saw you talking to Ian at the club." "Yeah? What is his deal anyway?" "I don't know him very well, but I would love to. He is always working at the dock or riding his motorcycle. Women are always throwing themselves at him, but since he has been back as far as I know, he hasn't seen anyone steady." "He definitely seemed intrigued by you, though," she says. "Sounds like a player," as I stab a piece of lettuce with my fork, placing it in my mouth. "Anyway, he is gorgeous, and I am, well, I'm just me." "Hollyn, you're beautiful," she says. "I would love to have your hair and your eyes." She wipes the corners of her mouth with her napkin, laying it back into her lap. "Tell me about all the hot guys in Alabama," she says. Nothing much to tell. I concentrated on studying. I took a spoonful of my soup, placing it in my mouth. After we finish our lunch and pay for our food, we say our goodbyes. I walk out of the front door, looking down at my phone. I run into what feels like a wall causing me to stop, and drop my phone. I feel muscular hands on my hip bones, sending a shock through me, radiating to between my thighs. When I look up, I see the same gorgeous blue eyes staring down at me that I saw at the dock. "Hi again," Ian says with a wide smile, and then licks his top lip. "Sorry, I feel the heat in my cheeks remembering my dream from last night." We hold each other's gaze, and all I can think about is how much I want to feel his lips on mine. Suddenly, my heart starts to beat so hard that I am worried he will hear it. Then he lets go of my hips, and the electricity that was flowing through my body is instantly gone, slowing my pulse. He bends down, picking up my phone, and he hands it to me. I take my phone, brushing my fingers against his. I look at him, feeling like I owe him an explanation. I am waiting on my friend to text me. "See you around." I walk around him to the parking lot. When I get to my car, I look back, and Ian is watching me. I get a text on my phone as soon as I get into the car. When I look at the text, it is Abby telling me she is ready. I set my phone down and look in my rearview to see if Ian is still standing there, but just like at the club, he is gone. Chapter 4. After Abby and I get back to the apartment, I notice a box sitting in my room that I had forgotten to unpack. I look through it, and it is mostly keepsake stuff from college, so I put it on the top shelf of my closet. My muscles are starting to feel tight and ache from the move today, so I decide to take a hot bath. I fill the bathtub with bubbles and slide into the water. The water feels so warm and relaxing. The bubbles are soft and tickle my skin. I lay back and close my eyes, thinking of Ian. I see the look on his face, standing by himself at the restaurant. I'm thinking of his scent and how it affects me. I want to be as close to him as I can so I have his scent on me. I picture his eyes, and I think how great it would be waking up to him, staring down at me every morning. I take my hand and slowly rub it up my leg. His tight, muscular body makes my insides light on fire. Then I think how it would be to have his body next to me, tasting it and feeling it. My other hand moves over my breast, making my nipples hard. I think of his gorgeous, full lips on my body. I slide my hand further up my thighs. I lick my top lip, and then I hear a knock on the door. I snap back to reality and jerk my hand away. "Hollyn, I ordered pizza for dinner," Abby says through the door. "Okay, I will be out in a minute." I pull my hand away from my thighs, shocked at what I was about to do. I'd never done anything like that before. The effect Ian had on me is a lot stronger than I had realized. I finish my bath, grab a towel to dry off, and put on some old, stretched-out clothes. I walk into the kitchen where Abby is pouring a glass of wine. I grab another glass out of the cabinet, sitting it beside hers on the counter. She pours the wine into my glass, and then the doorbell rings. Abby walks over, opens the door, and pays the pizza guy. She sits the pizza on the coffee table in the living room. We sit on the floor and grab a slice straight out of the box, just like we did in college. "I ran into Ian at lunch today, and I mean literally ran into him," I said. "He intrigues me. He is sexy, but kind of mysterious." "What did you say to him?" said Abby. I shrugged my shoulders. "I didn't say much. I apologized and then left him standing there." Abby laughs. "He probably isn't used to a woman blowing him off like that." "I'm definitely not going to be one of those women throwing myself at him," I said. She looks at me with a smile. "Playing hard to get always works," she says. We had just finished our pizza when my phone rings and I answer it. "Hey, Austin." "You and Abby getting ready to go out? I will be there to pick you guys up in about an hour," Austin says. "Wait, where are we going?" I ask him. "It's a surprise. I want to take you out to celebrate your return home. See you in an hour." "I don't know, Austin. I'm kind of tired." Abby leans in and asks me where we are going. I am not taking no for an answer, so you either get ready or I will drag you out of your pajamas. But either way, you are going, said Austin. "Austin, I don't know." I let out a sigh. "Hurry up because you are wasting time," Austin says. All right, I will get dressed, I said. I hang up the phone, irritated. After the move, I was looking forward to a nice, quiet, and relaxing evening. What was that about? Said Abby. Austin is taking us out, I said. We both walk into the room and look in my closet to find something to wear. Abby takes a pink overlay bodycon dress off the hanger. Can I borrow this? Says Abby. Abby has nice clothes, but she always seems to want to borrow mine. Sure, I'll pull a white corset dress off the hanger. We go into the bathroom to do our hair and makeup. Where do you think we are going? Abby asks as she is applying her makeup. I don't know. It's hard to tell with my brother, but it should be interesting. After I apply my lip gloss, I get my sandals from my closet. Just as I slip my shoes on, there's a knock at the door, and Abby opens it. You girls ready for some fun? Austin says with a beaming smile. We walk out to Austin's Jeep parked along the sidewalk. I call shotgun, Abby yells. I roll my eyes at her, and Austin opens the door for me to get in. As I'm getting in, I recognize a man sitting in the back seat. Hollyn, you remember Derek, my buddy from school, don't you? Yes, you used to come over to the house a lot, I said. He was Austin's best friend in high school. They played football together and always hung out. I always thought of him like another brother when we were growing up. Austin, can you tell us where we are going now? I ask him as he starts the Jeep. Nope. You will find out soon enough, Austin says. I look over at Derek, who is smiling at me. He has jet black hair that flows down his neck, dark brown eyes, and a built body. You look great. You clean up pretty good for yourself, he says with a grin. Where are we? We are here, Austin says. I look around and notice we had pulled into the parking lot of a private yacht club. Austin, how are you going to get in here? I ask. Derek smiles. I am a member of the club. My buddy is having a party here tonight on his yacht, says Derek. Abby looks back at me with a huge grin. Oh, this is going to be so much fun, she says. Austin parks the Jeep, and Derek helps me get out. We walk up to his friend's yacht, which is beautiful. As we walk closer, I can hear music playing, and I see people dancing on the deck. I notice some have champagne glasses in their hands, and suddenly I feel out of place. I've never been the fancy champagne kind of woman. As we board, we are greeted by a blonde-haired man who has sky-blue eyes. This is Wayne, owner of the boat, Derek says, introducing us. Wayne has a sweater tied around his neck with khaki slacks and a button-down pale yellow shirt. I really start to feel out of my comfort zone. I never socialized with the rich kids in school because they worried about their social status, and I was more worried about my grades in school. I look over at Abby, and she looks like she fits right in, and it makes me smile. It's nice to meet you, Hollyn. The bar is at the front of the boat. Please help yourself and have fun, Wayne says, taking my right hand and kissing the top of it. Thanks for having us, I say. I proceed to the bar, wiping my hand off on my dress from his wet, sloppy kiss. When we reach the bar, I decide to let loose and have fun. Abby and I get tequila shots, and I look around realizing I don't know anyone and take another shot. When I put my shot glass down on the bar, I feel the boat's engine start up, and we start to move. I look at Abby, and we do 3 more shots that are lined up in front of us. I start to feel the burn from the liquor and decide to go to the dance floor with Abby following me. We are dancing and laughing when Austin comes up behind Abby. He starts dancing with her, and then I feel someone come up behind me. I look back and it's Derek. Out of good fun, I turn around and start moving my hips with his, but I maintain a comfortable distance. After the song is over, I start to feel thirsty, so we decide to take 4 more shots of tequila. Abby and Austin go back to the dance floor, but I start to feel the effects of the liquor and feel off balance. I decide to walk to the back of the boat for some fresh air, where it wasn't so crowded. I'm caught off guard when Derek comes up beside of me. He puts my arm in his, which helps me walk straight. Are you feeling okay? Derek says. I just need some fresh air. I think it's the liquor getting to me. When we reach the back of the boat, I look out into the darkness. I see a few lights in the distance from other boats on the water, and I wonder if one of them is Ian's boat. Derek looks over at me. "Hollyn, you have changed," he says. I walk over to a bench and sit. "Yeah, I'm not 18 anymore," I say. "I remember you would never go to parties and you studied all the time," Derek said. "Well, I kind of didn't have a choice tonight. Austin threatened to drag me out whether I wanted to or not." I pick one of the lights on the water to focus on, trying not to throw up. Plus, that's what college and a wild best friend do to you. I laugh but quickly stop when I feel my head start to spin. I notice the concerned look on Derek's face. "Hollyn, you look like shit. I know where a room is if you want to go lay down," Derek says. "I think that would be a good idea," I say. He leads me into a room that has shiny wood floors. It has a queen-size bed with a brown comforter and white decorative throw pillows. After he helps me lay down, he places a trash can beside the bed. "Just in case, I will check on you in a little bit," says Derek. After he closes the door, I lay there in the dark room, hating myself for taking those last few shots. The room is trying to spin faster, but I manage to make it stop by closing my eyes. I can still hear the thumping from the bass of the music, which is starting to match the pain I feel in my head. I think the alcohol has intensified my want for Ian because I start to think about him coming into the room and crawling on top of me. I picture him taking off his clothes and pulling my dress off. I lick my lips, and then I hear the door open. By the time I manage to open my eyes, I feel someone in the room with me. I feel them climb on top of me. When I finally focus my eyes in the dark looking back at me are the sky blue eyes that greeted me onto the boat. "Wayne, what are you doing?" I say. "You smell so hypnotizing. I knew the second I kissed your hand that you wanted me," Wayne says. He bends down and inhales my hair. Excuse me, but you have the wrong idea," I said. I try to push him off of me, but my strength doesn't match his. "You wore that short little dress, and then I saw the way you were dancing on the floor," Wayne says. "You were watching me?" I said. He bends down to kiss me, but I turn my head away. He grabs my cheeks tight between his fingers, jerking my face to where he is staring down into my eyes. "Get the fuck off of me," I said. I continue to try to push him off of me. I feel his hand on my thigh softly moving up my dress. I think to myself, I am not going to let another jerk take advantage of me. I manage to move my leg to where I can take my knee and hit him in between his legs. He groans in pain and releases my cheeks. Then the door opens and Derek walks into the room. He looks at me, laying on the bed with my dress pulled up, and then at Wayne, grimacing in pain, holding his balls. "Hollyn, are you all right?" he says. I look down at Wayne. "I'm okay now," I said. "She is nothing but a little tease," Wayne says, looking up at Derek. "You dumbass, she's a lawyer," he says. He walks up to Wayne and punches him in his nose. "Why in the hell did you do that for?" Wayne says, with blood running down his hands from holding his nose. "Come on, Hollyn, let's go find Austin and Abby." Derek takes my hand to help me get up off the bed. The adrenaline flowing through my body from having to defend myself has made the alcohol effect leave my body. Wayne stands up, and I walk over to him, backing him up against the wall. "If I ever hear of you doing anything to another woman without her consent, you can bet your ass you will be hearing my name again, but it won't be in a courtroom." I start to walk out of the room, but I turn to look at him again and smile. "Oh, and Wayne, I am one damn good lawyer." We walk around to the front of the boat, and I stop Derek. "Don't say anything to Austin or Abby. I don't want Austin coming to my defense and getting into any kind of trouble. Besides, I have a feeling Wayne isn't going to be a problem anymore. I know if Austin finds out, he would do a lot worse than I did, so if that is what you want, I won't say anything," he says. We see Austin and Abby standing by the rail of the boat talking and walk over to them. "Hey, look who's feeling better," Abby says, running up to me, hugging me. Derek walks over from the bar and hands me a bottle of water. I lean against the rail, taking a sip of it when we pass a boat. I notice the same black lettering spelling Haynes on the side and realize it's Ian's boat. I catch myself looking for him as we go by, but I only see an older man with a cigarette in his mouth who's standing at the back of the boat. Once we arrive back at the yacht club, the boat docks, and I immediately feel relief. My head is still pounding, and I want nothing more right now than to go home. Chapter 5. After working on paperwork at the dock, I decide to go to Buster Crab's for lunch. As I'm walking into the restaurant, Hollyn runs into my chest. I look down, and her big piercing gray eyes are looking up at me. As my hands lay on her hips, I feel bolts of lightning through them, shocking my heart back into rhythm. I didn't think I would get the chance to talk to her again, and here she is, right in front of me. She smells like fruit and honey, just like I remember from the night I stopped her from falling flat on her sweet little ass, and I can't help but to lick my lips. She looks up at me and blushes, which is sexier than hell, and I can feel my cock getting hard. I can tell by the way she's looking at me that she feels the connection between us two. I take my hands off her hips to pick up her phone off of the floor. I look up, scanning her sexy curvy body, and then stand back up. After I hand her back her phone, she walks around me. No woman has ever brushed me off like that. I usually have them eating out of my hand, but she just walked away. I stand by the front door watching her tight little ass walk to her car and trying to figure out how come I never tried to get with her in high school. After she gets in her car, I adjust the fullness in my pants and go sit at the table to order lunch. After ordering, I look over and spot the little redheaded friend of hers, Paige. She looks at me and smiles. I can tell she is one woman I could have eating out of my hand. She seems like the type who would want more from me. She would want me to open up and tell her all my darkest secrets about me and my family. I don't like a lot of questions because I have shit buried so far down like an anchor, buried in the sand that I don't want to dig up. So that is why I've never let a woman get too close. "Hey man, can I join you?" Jay asks, walking over to the table I'm sitting at. Jay is in his early 40s. He's shorter than me, has dark hair, and smells of cigarettes. He has been my employee since I took over the business. Older men would have an issue with working for someone younger, but it never seems to bother Jay. He is my right-hand man who looks after things at the dock when I am not there. He pulls out a chair and sits at the table. He looks over at Paige, who is still smiling at me. "Are you going to try to get some of that? Because if you aren't, then I may have to try." "You're twice her age, Jay." I sit back in my chair. "Yeah, but I still have the stamina of a 30-year-old, and I could teach her a few things," he says. I laugh and then take a drink of my water. "Is everything on the boat that we need for fishing tomorrow?" I ask. "I'm going to pick up some more bait, but other than that, I think we are good," he says, taking a sip of his iced tea. "Great. We've got to get out there so I can fill Mr. Bradley's order at the pub." The waiter places my buffalo burger on the table, and I take a bite. Jay grins. "I saw you talking to the Jacobs girl when I pulled in. You definitely need to hit that. She's a nice-looking piece of ass," he says. "Yeah, but she seems innocent, so she's probably inexperienced. I think of her perfect pouty lips and how I would love to taste them. The ones that seem innocent are usually the ones who are wild in bed," he says. Then he smiles and sits back in his chair. I start to think of Hollyn and how I would like to feel her bare skin against mine and how I would like to see her innocent face when I did things to her that she probably has never felt before. I'm used to getting what I want when it comes to women, so when she walked away from me like she did, she became a challenge. After I finish my burger, Jay and I walk out of the restaurant into the parking lot. After I tell him I would see him later, I walk to my motorcycle, and Paige is standing beside of it. "Nice bike," she says. "I would love to go for a ride sometime." I have to go. I bite the inside of my jaw trying to figure out why I have no interest in taking her up on her offer since I know I could fuck her. She is standing there with her breasts popped out of her shirt, and it looks like she had unbuttoned a few more buttons since I saw her in the restaurant. I walk closer towards my motorcycle and grab my helmet. "Please, Ian, I would love to feel that force between my legs," she says. "I really need to go, Paige." I put my helmet on and get on my motorcycle. She smiles and finally moves. "Maybe another time then," she says. I get on my motorcycle and speed out of the parking lot, leaving her standing in the dust. I own a jet black and chrome Suzuki. It is fast, and I love how it makes me feel free. The speed is a better high than any drug. I ride to the lighthouse, a place where nobody bothers me. I think about all of this shit in my head, and right now her name is Hollyn. I don't know why she's having this effect on me, but I've never wanted a woman this bad. I ask myself, is it the challenge or her innocence? I can't let myself get too close to her because if she knew the demons I carry around, she wouldn't want me, and I'm not prepared to let them out, not even for her. I'm standing on the catwalk looking out at the ocean, and it looks like it never ends. I imagine getting on my boat and going far away to outrun the shit that haunts me, leaving all these foreign emotions behind. After a while of thinking and getting my head straight, I get on my motorcycle and go home. I am exhausted from the day, so I take a quick shower and get into bed, feeling my eyelids getting heavy, covering my eyes, leaving me in total darkness. No, Daddy, don't. Stop, please stop. You're hurting her. It is my fault, not hers. I can still smell the alcohol on his breath and see his dark red eyes looking back at me. The alcohol has changed him into someone I don't recognize. I run to the closet and tuck myself into a corner where I feel safe. I place my old stuffed dog on my lap and cover both of my ears with my hands. I start counting 1, 2, 3, until the screaming stops. I wake myself up, counting and rocking in the bed. Fuck, I had another nightmare. I look over at the clock, and it's 6 a.m., so I get up to get ready for work. I brush my teeth, looking at myself in the mirror, focusing on my tired eyes. I walk over to the shower, turning on the water and step in. Once I'm under the shower head, I close my eyes to let the water run down my face. I see those beautiful gray eyes staring back at me and those lips of Hollyn's. I rub my hands over my face, trying to get her out of my head. After I finish showering, I get dressed for work and text Jay that I'm on my way. When I get to the dock, I walk into my office. I sit at my desk and check my messages. I lean back in my chair, looking at my desk. I start to picture Hollyn laying across the desk naked when my door comes open. I look up, and Bess walks in with a grin. She is the first person who I became friends with when I came back to Rhode Island, and she acts like I belong to her. Her father died, who was the only family she had, and I can relate with not having any family around. She seems to make more enemies than friends. Hi, Ian. Hi, Bess. I walk to a chair beside the door to put on my muck boots. I looked for you at the Violet the other night, she says, sitting in my chair at my desk. I didn't stay long. I stand up and walk to the door. I heard you were talking to Hollyn Jacobs, she says. I look over at her and the grin fades from her face. I've got to get to work. I hold the door open for her to leave. She gets up, out of the chair, and walks over to the door. She stops in front of me, putting her face in mine. Hollyn isn't right for you, she says. She is uptight, which means she's boring, Ian, and we both know you don't do boring. Go, Bess. I clench my jaw, feeling annoyed, and open the door wider for her to leave. Ian, I love when you are demanding, she says. She walks out of the office, with me following behind her. When I go out to the dock, I walk over to the boat and start doing inventory of the equipment. I need to make sure we have everything we need when we go out to sea. There is not a cloud in the sky, and the sun is beaming straight down on me, making it miserably hot. I take off my shirt and walk over to the nets to inspect them. I start to feel sweat roll down my back. I feel a wave of electricity that jolts my gaze over to the road where Hollyn is standing, and those beautiful big gray eyes are staring up at me. I grab my shirt and put it back on, walking over to see what she wants. Chapter 6. The next morning I wake up with a pounding headache, cursing myself for taking that last shot of tequila. After some Tylenol, lots of water, and breakfast, I feel much better, so I decide to go for a run to clear my head. I put on my running clothes and shoes, and then grab my iPod. When I reach the sidewalk in front of the apartment, I place the earbuds in my ears and turn on some music. The next thing I know, I have ran 5 blocks to the dock. I look up and see a fishing boat with the name Haynes on it. I find myself walking closer, looking for Ian, but I stop myself, thinking, how pathetic am I being at this moment? I've never let a man get in my head like Ian has. Actually, any man, as I haven't dated much. As I'm about to turn to run the other way, my eyes are pulled to the back of the boat where I see Ian standing. He looks like a fishing god, wearing stained work jeans that are worn and ripped down one leg. He has sweat dripping down his bare chest, running down his six-pack to the V where his jeans hang on his hips. My palms turn sweaty and my breathing picks up. My nipples turn hard from arousal and I clench my thighs together from the pressure building. Ian's eyes land on me and I feel hypnotized by them. Suddenly, I am not able to move. I snap out of my state and feel embarrassed, like I've just got caught peeking at him naked. To make it worse, he picks up a white cotton shirt, pulling it over his head as he walks toward me. Good Lord, could I get any more pathetic? I say to myself. Hollyn, were you looking for something? He says. No, I was just going for a run, admiring your boat. Did you see something on there you liked? He said, with a smile. Yeah, your boat is big. I catch myself looking at the bulge in his pants. His grin gets even bigger, and I realize what I said. Oh my God, I say under my breath. I don't think I could be more humiliated. I'm trying to control the heat that is radiating through my body when I look up to my left and see Wayne. His nose is bruised, and he's talking to an older man. I feel my humiliation turn into anger. What is he doing down here? Ian follows my gaze. His dad sends him down here to place an order for a big party they throw yearly, Ian says. Wayne looks over to where I'm standing and smiles. What an asshole, I say. What is that about? Ian asks, turning his attention back to me. He thought I wanted him last night during a party on his parents' yacht. He decided to be a jackass, I say. I see Ian's eyes turn dark and he clenches his jaw. He didn't hurt you, did he? Ian says. No, he didn't hurt me, but I hurt him. My brother's friend gave him that black and blue nose. Ian looks at me like he is surprised. His eyes turn lighter and he releases his fist. He is about to say something when Bess Dover walks up and puts her arm around Ian's waist. She has long jet black hair. Her boobs are too big for her slender body. She has on jeans that are so tight, I can't figure out how she managed to squeeze into them. Her shirt is red, that is short and shows off her flat abs and a diamond belly button ring. I look at her with daggers in my eyes. I think, what in the hell is she doing here with her hands all over Ian? I grew up with Bess, and she is known to be the town slut, clinging onto anything that has a cock. Hey, Hollyn, I heard you had come back home. A lot of things have changed since you've been gone, she says. She wraps her arm tighter around Ian, and I noticed Ian isn't moving away from her. Well, by the looks of it, nothing has changed. I spit at her, and then I look back to Ian. Bess has an ear-to-ear grin that I want to slap off of her face. I feel the heat inside of my body start to boil. I need to get home, I said. I turn and start running. When I glance over my shoulder to look back at Ian, he is watching me, and Bess is still beside him with a cocky grin. I run all the way back to the apartment, trying to figure out what the hell just happened. When I enter the apartment, I go to my room, slamming the door behind me. The door opens, and Abby appears in the doorway. Are you all right? She says. What the hell is he doing with her? I mean, anybody but her. I look at Abby, and she looks confused. Who are you talking about? Abby says. Ian. I was talking to Ian, and then Bess walks up and puts her filthy hands all over him. Who is Bess? Abby says. She is a slut, I say. She is probably trying to hook her claws into him. He is her type, gorgeous and hard-working. If a guy showed interest in me in school, she would screw them. What a slut, Abby says, raising her voice. You know, the worst part is that I looked like an idiot thinking he was into me. I mean, how could a man that damn sexy be interested in me? I smack the palm of my hand to my forehead. Screw him. It's his loss, Abby says, as she walks out of my room. I get in the shower still mad, and I think of Wayne on top of me from last night. I grab my loofah, putting body wash on it. I start to scrub my skin until it is literally red while mumbling, "What a sleazeball." After making sure I scrub everywhere he touched me, I get out of the shower. I put on a t-shirt and stretch pants. I grab my laptop to work on my first case, hoping it will take my mind off of everything. My first case is a divorce settlement. Mrs. Duval is a middle-aged woman who is going through a nasty divorce. Her husband is an executive in a major mortgage corporation and was cheating on her with a younger woman, so she wants to get back at him by taking him for everything that he is worth. She hired me because she is a friend of my mom. It is a huge case because it involves a lot of money, so I need to win to get the firm recognized. As I'm going through the files, my phone rings. "Hey, Mom," I say. "Have you and Abby gotten settled in?" she says. "Yes. We are going to get the office ready tomorrow." "Hollyn, I'm so proud of you," she says. "I was calling to tell you that you have done so well for yourself. Just remember, sweetie, don't let any distractions get in your way of your dream." I roll my eyes. "Well, you definitely don't have to worry about that, Mom. I have to go. I'm working on Mrs. Duval's case." "Okay, sweetie. Talk to you later," she says. As I hang up with Mom, I get a text. It's from Austin. "How are you feeling?" "Better, thanks," I say. "If you need anything, call me," he says. "Okay," I say. After I'm finished texting Austin, I start to feel exhausted between the events of last night and today. I walk into the kitchen and open the refrigerator when Abby walks in behind me. "I know just the thing you need," she says. She opens the freezer and grabs a pint of chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream. Then she gets 2 spoons out of the drawer. We curl up on the couch, and I turn on the television. As I am flipping through the channels, Abby gets a spoonful of ice cream on her spoon and sticks it in her mouth. "You will quickly learn that ice cream and anything sweet helps heal a wounded heart," she says. I stick my spoon into the ice cream, getting a spoonful, shoving it in my mouth. "Don't let an asshole bring you down, Hollyn," she says. "You are so much stronger and better than that." I lay my head in her lap. "I know, but I've never felt like this before, and I don't know how to get over it," I say. "Well, you've got a good start with the ice cream," she says. She starts laughing, getting another big scoop of the ice cream on her spoon, sticking it in my mouth. "Damn it, that hurts." "Brain freeze," I say. I yell and sit up holding my head. I look over at her, and she's laughing so hard that it makes me start to laugh with her. "Thanks, Abby, I needed this," I said. I wipe the tears from my eyes from laughing so hard my sides hurt. "Anytime, sister," Abby says. She gets up off of the couch. "We need popcorn to go with this ice cream. There's nothing like the sweet and salty taste," Abby says. I start flipping through the channels again and finally come across a marathon of Friends. A few minutes later, Abby comes back and sits on the couch with a huge bowl of popcorn. I look over at her and realize I'm starting to feel better. She's not only my best friend, but the sister I never had, and I don't know what I would do without her.